Okay. Welcome to the top of the hut. When we first started this thing, I was way over there and I was looking that way and it was only 2 arches and I was like, I can't even imagine getting to the point where I'm looking down and it's the whole Quonset hut, but we're almost there. We have completed almost all of it except for less than 3 arches, and we're working on it again this morning. This whole project consisted of 279 panels of different shapes and sizes and 7,000 bolts, which is just crazy. I didn't realize it was 7,000 bolts until we were about halfway done, and it kind of just blew my mind. This is our 7th day straight of working on it, and I mean just hard work. No day has been under 10 hours. Some of them have been way over that. It has been physically exhausting, but we have gotten way better. The first 2 days, we were only able to get 2 arches up each day. Yesterday, through our experience and hard work, we got 8 arches up in 1 day. This last day, like I said, it's under 3 arches we got to do, so we got an easy day of work out here. Again, when we're putting this thing together, we're just leaving all the bolts loose, and the scissor lift has been absolutely amazing. I'm sure you could do it without it, but with only having Arielle and I, so 2 people putting this hut together, this Genie scissor lift has been absolutely awesome. So this is battery powered, and what I do is every morning about an hour before we get out here, I hook it up to the generator, I charge up the batteries. It doesn't seem to use a lot of battery. We've never really run too low on it. So this thing's been absolutely great for us. When we were at the beginning of the hut, so like the first 3-4 arches, I mean, this thing was so shaky and unstable. I was like, when is this thing gonna be strong? But as we've started to work down, I mean, it is so solid now. It's just absolutely crazy. So we're at the end, or like the end of the pad. So things are getting a little more complicated now. The scissor lift is getting really close to that edge of concrete, and we've been bringing up like 3 panels at a time, trying to get as much done in one area as we could. But this last little section, it's gonna be bringing up like 1 or 2 panels, getting real close to the edge and just finishing things off. This is an awesome day today, a very exciting moment for us.
Wear your fancy pants today, huh?
Getting there, I wanted to talk about a couple tools we're using that I feel like are a must when you're putting this thing together. So one is we have an impact drill. These bolts are 1/2 inch, so we've got a 1/2 inch socket on there. Arielle mostly uses this on the bottom. If 2 panels aren't exactly fitting together, she'll tighten up the bolt and suck them a little close together. When you're overlapping these panels with just like 2 panels, it's not hard to get the bolt through, but when you start getting to points where you have like 3 or 4 panels overlapped and the metal's a lot thicker, it's a little harder to get the thread started and get the bolt on. The next is, I feel like, a must-have for this. So this is my little tool that I built, and it started off as just this bottom piece, which is like a punch, I believe, and it's just a tapered piece of metal, and I put that in the hole, kind of like right here as an example, and I get the panel underneath it, and I can move it, and I can get it lined up and get it straight, and then I'll start a bolt on this side. And then what I did is I welded a 1/2 inch open-end wrench on the other side. So when I'm up there and I'm doing this, if Arielle wants to screw on a bolt with the drill, I can also use this wrench and just boom, put that on. Also extending this little punch a little longer, it gives me a little more leverage and I can really pry on it, because some of these bolts, they don't line up exactly perfect and you gotta fight them sometimes. So another part that's worked really good for us is having these supports, and these are just leftover 2x6s and 2x4s from when we framed in the concrete slab. And what I'm doing now is I'm moving this one all the way to the edge, because if you don't have the arch fully assembled or connected to the other edge, these kind of sag down a little bit. And if you prop them up and get things aligned, it makes the bolts line up a lot better. So we're gonna leave actually 4 of these up until we get the whole entire thing bolted. We're gonna do 2 down on that far end, and then we're gonna do 2 down on this front end, because the ends, you can tell if you take those out, they sag down just a little bit because the bolts are so loose right now. But as soon as we get the bolts tightened up, we'll pull those out and it'll be a standing structure at that point. But we have 4 more panels to go. We're so close. Here we go. The 279th arch. Got that one?
Well, that was a challenge. We're finished with putting them up. So now it's just bolting, which is going to be a lot of work. And there's a lot more work to do. But that was exhaustive. Eric and I, well, at least for me, in the middle of the night, I would wake up and my legs would just like throb. So I'm very, very happy that we made it and we're done. And it just feels like it's going to be downhill from here. So we're going to head down on the scissor lift, quite literally.
Whoops.
Wipe some down. There's a lot of weight on it. About to start tightening our bolts. We have a lot of work to get done tonight and tomorrow. We only have the rental for a few more days. We were able to call and extend it a little past a week. Thankfully, earlier we spent some time shifting the Quonset this other side. What had happened, I don't know exactly how this happened, but as we were working our way, we noticed on the last arch, it was overhanging probably like an inch or two. So we needed it to be completely within the trough, and Eric was able to get up there on the tractor and kind of shift things over. Wasn't easy, but we made it happen. So the plan is to start drilling and see how much we can get done. Okay, I'm going up. So who would be where tomorrow?
Okay guys, another long day out here at the hut, and what we're doing now is we're kind of going around and seeing what the game plan is going to be for tomorrow as far as tightening all 7,000 bolts. So I originally thought that we were just going to be able to go around the inside on the nut side and just hit them with an impact wrench, and that the rubber washer that's on the outside would kind of grip and tighten it up. We tried that. It wasn't the case. I don't know, maybe like 25% of them were tightening, the rest of them were just spinning. So we did 2 walls as high up as we could reach, or about to here, and Arielle was on the outside with a wrench holding the bolt. I was on the inside where the nut is with the impact wrench, tightening them all up. It took a few hours just to do those. So what I just did was I walked up on the roof. I want to make sure the roof is nice and strong, because tomorrow one of us are going to have to be up on the roof holding a wrench. The other person's going to be on the scissor lift zooming around. But it's about 10 p.m. right now, and we're going to go inside and get some rest. We have a long day ahead of us tomorrow. We're hoping that we can get done with that scissor lift tomorrow so we can take it back.
That's the tan of my trusty Chacos. I found that it was easier to work up there barefoot. The metal was getting a little bit hot, but I just felt like it was a little bit slipperier with my shoes. We've been working for, I mean, I'm just guessing 3 hours up there. Eric's neck is like this, just stuck in that position. We got 2/3 of the way done. We've probably been drilling for like 6 hours, including yesterday, 5 or 6. And there's still a few more hours to do. It definitely is not, it's not easy work, and it's hot. This is a hot summer, it's a hot day. I know we're gonna get it done though, so that's pretty exciting. We're gonna have a little break and then get back at it. Test her on out, see what you think.
Test her on out.
See if, I think it's pretty stable.
It's pretty insane how
It was already stable like that, in my opinion.
look at this. I mean,
Oh gosh.
you can totally just.
We finished just in time. There's still a few little scragglers, but that's not a big concern. Eric and I are just straight up broken and busted right now. I don't think we've ever been happier to be, I'm gonna call it done. We're done with 7,000 bolts. So this thing's solid, we're walking on it. And what do we gotta do? Just a little cleanup and load up the machine? Can we name it 𝐒𝐢𝐯𝐬? Or the hut?
What?
I said 𝐒𝐢𝐯𝐬 or the hut. I think the hut sounds good. Meet me in the hut. I'll get you in the hut.
Looks like this the whole time.
Oh, thanks for the ride. Wish I could say it was pleasant, but it was scary as heck.
That was crazy. Like Arielle said, we were totally beat. I don't know what time it is. Maybe like 7 o'clock. Is it 7?
7 to 8.
It's 7 to 8 o'clock. So that took a long time. That was the 7,000 bolts that we had already put in, so we had to hit each and every single one again. We had a couple of little tips that we used. One was when I was going around just hitting them by myself, the ones that weren't actually tightening, that were just spinning on the inside of the Quonset hut, I was taking a red Sharpie and I was just putting a circle around them, so that way when we're walking by, we can be like, okay, that one I didn't get, we're gonna have to hold the nut on the outside or hold the bolt on the outside, and we'll tighten that one up. And since we were both wearing earplugs, because that impact drill is so loud in here, it just echoes, it was hard to communicate while I was on the inside of the hut and Arielle was on the roof. So what we did is we kind of came up with like a system or a pattern, and we would just follow that pattern as we go, and it actually worked out pretty good. I felt like we were a NASCAR team up there. We were just like smoking these bolts on. And the Quonset Hut company that we got this from, they recommend that you start at the bottom and like work your way up on both sides to the center, and that's what we did. I think it took a little bit longer, but we are done. And another task I want to complete tonight is I want to see if we can get the scissor lift loaded up. When we unloaded it, we were using gravity, so the tractor could barely pick it up and get it down on the ground. Now we're gonna have to figure out a way to get it from the ground up onto the trailer. So let's see if we can do it.
Do you see your tires? Well, that was worth the sacrifice of the wood, eh? That's okay. That's okay.
Huh?
That's okay.
Okay, we got it on. That's all that matters. We have returned from Fairbanks, dropping off the scissor lift rental, and picked up more supplies. So we bought all of the concrete sealer that we're going to use. We have a cement mixer, or a concrete mixer, and then we have everything that we're gonna use to grout in the Quonset hut, and we're gonna grout in the keyways and kind of cement the building into place. So we have Portland cement and we have sand, and then we'll add water, and that's gonna be our mix. These are extremely heavy, so I think just one pallet we're gonna have to down stack so the tractor can lift it. We're gonna get it unloaded, we're gonna get it brought into the Quonset hut, keep it out of the weather. This one weighs 3,000 pounds. This is the heaviest one in here. So let's unstack. So far we have about 6,000 pounds, or a little over 6,000 pounds with all this material here, and it's gonna be a little under 2 yards of like volume. It wouldn't pick up that Portland cement. That's pretty heavy. Those are 94-pound bags, and I think we have 22 of those. The sand is 60-pound bags, and I think we got 75. So I'm gonna throw a couple more bags on here, lighten up the load between the pallets, and we'll have 4 pallets to bring over there total. They're so heavy.
While Eric's grabbing all of the sand and the Portland cement, I just want to show you that I nicked the building first, so I took that award. I haven't hit anything with our tractor yet. In fact, I don't think I ever hit anything with our old tractor, but I was doing some gravel work here, and the arms that support that back arm, or the excavator little bucket we have on the back, unfortunately nicked this when I was going along and packing it down. It's not that bad, and this particular panel we noticed was one that got a little damaged when we transported this. We had to, the Quonset hut pieces, we actually had to unload them because we didn't have the tractor at the time, and we think what happened was one of the top pieces, this one right here, got put on the bottom, and it had some like grit or something on it, something that got kind of scratched when we laid all the other ones on it. This was the last panel we put on, and we noticed that it has like these little scratches and stuff. So unfortunately it's not the best looking right there. The rest of the building is shiny and pretty though.
So check out what Arielle did for us the other day. She was working at the gravel pit, and she created us, I don't know what you call it, but like our entrance to the hut. So now we don't have wood stacked up, and we're kind of protecting the foam. So she put this all up and built it up for us, so we could just drive in and out. And this is it. The Quonset hut is fully erected, and it was a pain, and we're gonna cook some food out here to celebrate.
Got our station all set up. Look at this bread that we pulled out of the oven earlier. I was going for like a hoagie style roll, but these are a little bit shorter and fatter than I anticipated. We make different recipes every time when we do our bread, so they usually turn out quite a bit different, but they look good.
Salmon time.
All right, we're ready to rock, and this is gonna be a really early dinner for us, maybe even a late lunch. We usually eat dinner a lot closer to like 9 p.m., so it's a lot earlier in the day. I'm excited. I'm hungry.
And what are we having here tonight? This was your meal idea.
It is going to be
a salmon melt, we were calling it, right?
a salmon melt. We're basically doing like a toasted and melted sandwich, and I'm just gonna make like a sauce before to put on it.
With cheese.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
There's gonna be cheese on the sandwich.
So I'm gonna cook the salmon first. We're doing sockeye salmon, and I'm just gonna do salt and pepper on there. Do we gotta grind that up?
Eric and I took a little break from this project. It was horribly daunting, not just physically, emotionally, and psychologically, but it was rough. So I feel happier now that we took that space and came back out here. It required a lot of teamwork, and we struggle a little bit with that sometimes. So we were like using codes to tap with our little, what was that, a wrench? Anyways, it wasn't working out that well. So it's just, it was difficult. Know that if you take on a Quonset hut. At this point, there is still more work to do. We're gonna talk a little bit about that because there really is still a lot to do. I feel like we've made great progress, but.
It's just the beginning, yeah. Like Arielle said, there's a ton of work that still needs to be done out here. We started this build, researching it and purchasing this Quonset hut last fall. So it's come a long ways already, and there's just so much stuff that's new to us that we're trying to plan. So one thing that we do have nailed down is how we're gonna heat this. So the main heating source is gonna be in-floor heat. I'm pretty sure we're gonna run that off an oil boiler. We haven't bought that yet, so it's not for sure. And then we have a coal stove that we already purchased, and that's gonna be kind of backup heat for the shop. Or if we're out here and it's really cold and we just wanna be really warm, we could fire up the coal stove for us.
And the shop is 38, we'll say 60 by 40, we'll say 40 by 60 a lot, but the shop is actually a true 38
by 63.
By 63, so a little bit different. Awesome size, definitely gonna be a lot of space. And we probably have briefly mentioned what we want it for. We refer to it as a shop a lot. I think that's kind of just our culture, but really it's more of a workshop. That's a better way to describe it. It's not gonna be like a literal garage where we just store things, but it is, I mean, I'd say half of it is for storage, heated storage.
Right, it's not gonna be like a store, like a shop where you sell things.
No.
It's 100% personal. It's gonna be for us, like Arielle said, mostly in the winter because it gets extremely cold here. The winter is so long. Things break. We wanna work on projects, processing, canning, anything. Now we can have a heated space to come in and do it.
This will be our 6th winter in Alaska, and the winter is so harsh and it does damage your things outside, so you have to kind of know that going into it. I know a lot of folks deal with that, and it's a little bit of a luxury to have a shop that's heated, but we're definitely going to make the most of it, right?
Yes, we are. So the floor heat, that will run 24/7. We're going to keep things out here that can't freeze. So it's not like we're just going to heat this thing up when we want to use it. It's going to start in like when? Maybe like the early fall when it starts getting cold.
September to October for sure. Yeah.
And then we won't turn off the heat in here until the spring when it's warm enough that stuff won't freeze out here. And then these buildings, you can buy them with end walls. They're metal. They look just like the rest of the building. We did not do that, so we're going to build our own end walls. We're going to build them out of wood. We're going to mill that all with the sawmill.
Quite the feat.
It's going to be a big project with that. We're going to do a big roll-up door. We still have to do research on that. We'd like to get some insulated one, and then we're going to do a man door. We're going to do spray foam insulation eventually.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. The spray foam, we already pretty much knew we were going to go that route. I mean, I say that, but we don't know until it actually comes down to it, and that's the route we go. But it's just the most realistic for these buildings and their texture.
Yeah.
It's not the most cost-effective in some ways, but, well, it actually is, honestly. At this point in time, spray foam is really the most efficient, yeah. And it's gonna be awesome for keeping that heat in, that we're spending the money on heating, and then also keeping it cool in the summer because it is hot. I'm noticing it's pretty cool in here right now though, but it's hot outside.
Yeah, it's 80 degrees today, but it's nice in here in the shade.
It's in the 70s in here, yeah. So those are a little bit of our plans, and I think we're both looking forward to having it completed because it's gonna be so useful for us for all the projects and things we like to do.
Originally the plan was to just bust our butts all summer long and get this thing done, finished, but everything has been a learning curve and more difficult and just taking us longer than we thought it was going to take. So we're pretty confident in saying that this will not be a heated shop this winter.
Yeah, it's going to work as what? A covered storage.
It's going to be covered storage. We're still working on it. We're still going to get as much done as we can, but winter, it comes fast here and it hits hard, so.
We both knew that if we didn't have the spray foam scheduled for August, this wouldn't be completed, you know, and it's August. Is it August?
It is.
It's August.
August like 8th, I think.
Oh, and so that's not going to happen at all. And so, you know, honestly, just living here, you know, in summer, you're trying to pack so much into it, from fun to also balancing projects and things that can only be done in those months.
Yeah.
And we do fall short every year. I think most Alaskans honestly do. So we will get as much done as we can and pick up with it, of course, next year, right? We should be able to work on it a lot.
Definitely, and now that we have this enclosed and we can get as much done as we can this year, come springtime, I feel like we can actually start working out here before everything unthaws. So we can start building end walls, we can start doing interior things, but I think some of the next stuff we're going to be doing is mixing up all that sand and the Portland cement into our grout. We need to bolt down our Quonset hut.
Yep.
We want to go pick up a rental. We found a really cool rental. It's like a dual disc grinder for grinding down cement floors. So we're going to grind down this floor, get it nice and smooth and good looking, do our sealer.
Yep, it's got to be bolted down. I don't think that any sort of high winds or anything are going to be a concern, but we've got to do some finishing steps, right? We've got to bolt it down before winter.
I got to grab the cheese for us.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's already done, huh? Hey, this fish looks absolutely delicious. We're going to put olives. I have green olives. I think they're stuffed. We have some sun-dried tomatoes. We have some of our fermented honey right here with our garlic. And then I have some brown mustard that we made, I think, trying to remember when we made that. I think we made that earlier this year. We're gonna mix all that in this same mortar that Eric was using for salt and pepper. So I'm a little bit new to using these, and I'm excited to try them with a sauce like this. At first I was thinking just herbs, but you can do a lot of things in here. But
Oh, here, crush those first. Though.
Okay.
Let me crush those for you.
That's what I was thinking, dry ingredients.
You want to do it or not?
No, you can do it. Why don't I turn this off real quick?
It is off.
Oh,
I'm
it
just
is?
going to throw the cheese on there.
We're going with mozzarella cheese on these.
Mozzarella.
What do you want? I need a knife.
Don't you just smush them in there?
No, I mean, I get the garlic clove.
Okay, I'm about to toast our cutting board. That's good. How's that sauce?
Really good. Let's show that, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Those look amazing. Really excited to eat that. All right, so this is just a little celebration for the point that we have gotten now. And we were just talking last night about it. I think we've done a lot of things that I never thought we would do here. Building a Quonset hut is one of them. But it was reminiscent of when we built our root cellar back at our old place, because it's just the same process.
Yep.
And it's really hard to see like the light at the end of the tunnel, because it just...
Yeah, hard work the whole entire time. Not a lot of progress you're seeing. It's rough.
We thought the foundation was bad, but we both said that we would do the foundation again over the Quonset. So
Yeah.
if you've got a Quonset, you've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, we did the Quonset hut, we did the build. It was so hard, and then when we went to edit the video, we had to like relive it again
painful.
and see how hard it was, and we were like, oh my gosh, I don't ever want to do that
I
again.
don't even want to look. I don't even. Yeah, the first two arches. No.
They were
never
bad.
been.
So we're gonna
Eat?
eat. Thank you guys for watching and following along. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll be back out here murdering.
Which
Grouting?
one? Grouting. They call it grout. I want this one right here. I was looking at this one.
Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure that could be like in a magazine right there. You
know
see, you burnt the crust. Not burnt. It looks good. It's like charred.
That was on purpose.
Whoa. Can we
Okay,
just-
here we go.
Smells good.
Hands down, best fish sandwich I've ever had. From the cheese, the salmon, the spread, and the bread, everything about this is absolutely perfect. That spread's insane.
Something that's standing out to me right away is the fish, the text of the bread.
The bread.
I have yet to try the cheese or the spread.
Oh my god.
Oh no, the spread's good.
These bread, it's almost like a bagel. It's so chewy. Okay. No, whatever. I always choose.
You're not allowed to, or it's just your dynamics, hon. That's really good. The oil, the flavor.
Really good. You
I'm
can't
actually
get this.
surprised that it turned out that good without the butter in there.
You can't get this at a restaurant. This kind of flavor. They'd blow people away.
I'm sure somewhere you should.
No.